Hello, everybody, and welcome back. After a very short interlude there, where we was having some shenanigans, not blaming anyone, not really blaming anyone whatsoever, but welcome back. I'm Alex from Fatboss TV. Joining me today is JB, who's named as Stay Close, but of course we've got the amazing, the Hunter legend, Rogerbrown, with us as well. Thank you ever so much for joining us, dude. Really do appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here. I didn't expect that it would be this quick today, but yeah, feeling great, feeling absolutely ecstatic, and I'm looking forward to see actually the VOD of your reactions when we actually did the poll, because I think I always like looking back at those.
All right, so first off, I just gotta start by saying, honestly, this was maybe the best tier I think you guys have ever had, in my opinion. In terms of your performance, just like boss to boss, I feel like you guys slammed everything. Now I gotta ask, because I feel like I have an opinion on this. Was this Sylvanas kill and maybe this entire tier, was this maybe the best feeling win, the best feeling world first win you guys have ever had?
I think definitely it felt how can I say, it felt the most rewarding. For sure. I don't know, best is like very subjective. So if you ask different people in the guild, maybe they have a preference. But I think this was when we put so much time in preparation, talking about the bosses, preparing, getting more people to help out, weak auras, big wigs, strategies, setups, everything, spreadsheets, crazy spreadsheets. Like we actually made so many spreadsheets that if you had them open on the side, on the second screen, it lagged your in-game, so we had to close them down. No, that's not a meme, by the way. So once you put all of this time, the last 5-6 months, and you're so close, when you actually get it, it feels amazing. If we wouldn't have gotten it, it would have crushed us a bit mentally, for sure. But regardless, it was an amazing race, and you got that feeling again, that amazing feeling of having great competition. And so I want to say also that it's always amazing to race against Limit, because they bring it like no one else. And it makes it really hard for us. It would have been a lot less time that we would have to play and prepare for, but it makes it all that much more worth it in the end. So I'm sure they'll kill it as soon as they wake up, and they performed amazingly, and yeah, it was a great race.
How much sleep did you get last night?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
How much sleep did you get last night?
So I went to bed. We stopped early because we had this great pool of 46.4%, and then we realized, like, hey, okay, we're not gonna kill it today, because it wasn't like a 45.5, because there you're like, maybe, a lucky pool, we can get it. You need to actually make optimizations. You need to change a few things to squeeze out 1% more damage. So we need to think about it. So I talked to Skype and I was like, hey, let's go to bed relatively early, so we wake up early tomorrow. And in the meantime, we can think of ways to improve the DPS. So we went at 11:30, I think we stopped, right after that pool. Until 2 a.m., we were all typing on our phones and stuff on Discord, like ideas of how to improve DPS. I think there were like 15 ideas. We didn't do all of them, but we did most of them. At the same time, obviously, watching Limit getting closer and closer, it actually got it really scary, because I thought that they wouldn't make it, but I thought that they would be like 2% off. And when I saw that they were like 0.5% off, I couldn't sleep. Honestly, I couldn't sleep. So I slept around 2 a.m., woke up at 4 a.m. having nightmares, checked my phone, saw that they had a 45.44 or something try, and then I stayed up for another hour, and then I slept another 2 hours. Basically, it was hectic. I literally, I think I watched Limit stream more last night than I actually slept.
Yeah.
I was glued to it as well. They were so close in getting it down. It just goes to show how close this race is. Like, Sylvanas is an end boss, of course. From our perspective, you guys managed to somewhat like master the strategy that you needed on this fight quite quickly, right? You got to the enrage like relatively cleanly in like 100 pulls. Would you like kind of think of this boss as an end boss? Is it like one of your favorites, or like how does the guild generally feel about it?
I think, well, you know the meme of like Scribe. I mean, I can't speak too much because he's in front of me. I don't want him to hear me, but he
Just
did.
whisper, it's fine.
He did tweet that this was going to be the best boss of all time. You know, not quite, but it was way better than we expected after seeing Heroic, because I think Heroic was definitely lackluster, and I was like, oh man. But actually, they managed to make Phase 1 quite a lot better, and the intermission even was engaging, which was super boring in Heroic. And the Phase 2 also, because you do two sides at the same time, is effectively cut in half, or it feels like it's half in time. So I don't know, like it was an okay fight in the end. Like Mythic definitely way better than Heroic was. So I would say maybe 7.5 out of 10. Like it wasn't the best, but decent. Yeah.
And of course,
Okay.
in terms of the entire difficulty of this place, apart from Painsmith and, of course, Sylvanas, everything kind of melted. Like, the first 6 bosses, we were like, oh, okay, this tier's going to be, you know, it's a bit spicy, right? And then it kind of, everything kind of fell over. Like, did you guys kind of anticipate that? Did you kind of expect that? Or were you just as surprised as everyone else?
Definitely surprised. The first bosses, as you said, expected to reach Painsmith on the first day. I thought Painsmith was going to be easier than he was, but it was actually not harder in terms of numbers. It was just harder because of mechanics, which was amazing. Like I think whoever designed that boss, huge props to them. I think Painsmith will be remembered for a long time as one of the coolest mid-tier bosses. Then after that, I do think that the tuning fell off. We prepared super crazily for all bosses, which is something we didn't do that much last year's. Last year's we focused so much on the last 2 bosses, and we didn't pay attention on the earlier ones. This time we did that, which is why I think we also killed them quite quickly. But the tuning was off. Guardian, I think, was just way too easy. I think we can all agree on that. Just the numbers-wise. The Fate Scribe, the intermission was very lackluster compared to what we had prepared. You don't even know how much time we put preparing weak auras, practicing rules. Hey, if this guy goes like this, if you're number 6, you need to let the number 5 pass through, and crazy. So much time, you don't even know. And then we go there and we kill it in like 20 pulls, or what was it, 10. Definitely a letdown there. KT, well, you know, we did Heroic on VTR, we did Mythic on VTR, and we studied so much, the timers, everything. We studied that boss so much, more than Sylvanas, more than any other boss. We studied KT, and we figured out how the timers work on that fight, and how to get consistent phases. They did a few tweaks. On PTR, it used to be below 7.5% that the boss doesn't cast anything. Now they made it 5%. But that thing enabled a lot of things in that fight. So again, I think on KT, I don't know how it was from your perspective watching the fight. It must have felt very lackluster, I guess. Like, what is this? But I don't know. I mean, what they should have done is not have this weird stuff that, depending how much mana he phases with, that's what he keeps later on. That shouldn't be a thing. I'm always against how you phase mattering in the next phase. The timers should reset when you enter a new phase, because it's either gonna be too hard, or you can cheese it, or whatever. And the whole thing with suiciding, and the whole thing with suiciding.
Oh.
And
Oh, we got a little bit of a reverb
sorry.
there. It's
Yeah,
okay, we're good.
yeah. The thing with the suiciding the tank ads. A lot of people talked about it. I saw on Twitter. It was crazy, actually. I didn't expect that so many people were going to be like, whoa, what are you doing there? Cheesing the mechanics. First of all, this has been done many, many times. I remember on Archimond, we suicided the tank to not get the ad. On Kill Jaden as well. Like, you always sacrifice to avoid things. But it's not really a game breaker, like you'll see next week. I don't know. Is the hotfix in already, Alex? Or
I
JB?
think it comes in next week. Yeah, because looking at how you guys, it was mainly the real big optimization was the fact that you kind of pushed the boss exactly when you wanted, and the boss kind of. Like I was talking about, basically, he went into a bit of a pacified state, right, where he wasn't really as spooky as he should be, and because of that, you like the phase, like you guys made it look super easy, and I was just like, obviously there's some spiciness and there's some horrible overlaps that you got to kind of do well. You can't just like AFK, but you know, by just doing damage correctly on that fight. That's the thing that's broken about it. Removing the tank ads is more of just like the cherry on top because you don't have to do it during the spikes exploding, right? So it was quite impressive. I'm surprised the boss came out in its current state. Like the penultimate boss shouldn't be like what 31 pulls to you guys. I was like, okay, and there's some shenanigans going on here. But you did really well to work all that out. I'm pretty sure if it wasn't known how that sort of pacifying the boss sort of worked, it could be a similar sort of thing to like SLG where the timers were the hard part, right?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I think a lot of guilds knew about the 5% the boss stops doing things. I'm sure Limit did, and as I said, it used to be 7.5 on PTR. They changed it to 5. The main thing was that we were waiting for a full rotation of the abilities, right? So from 100 mana to 0, and then start over. And without going into too much detail, because I mean, yeah, I'd love to talk about these bosses in depth in some roundtable. But the spikes were the biggest problem, and by doing what we did, you only get one set of spikes per phase. If you push the boss too early or too late, you're gonna get 2 in one phase. So that's pretty much the biggest reason why we did this strategy and why it worked so easily. Yeah. Yeah. I would like to ask you, how was it with Sylvanas from a viewer perspective? Yeah.
Oh, okay. The fight, I guess I'll jump in first because JB and me, I'm sure we have very different views on the fight. The phase 1 actually seemed a hell of a lot better. Like basically what you said, like because Heroic and Normal, they were a little bit lackluster. As you said, they weren't that engaged. Even if you were just watching them, they kind of felt like this was going on too long. But the fight, of course, still being that really, really long duration, it was good. It was really good. I like phase 1. It was really hectic. Loads of those ads coming in. You guys using crazy CC strats and final strats. That was awesome. And then phase 2, we actually had to split up. And that strat, which got hotfix, unfortunately, but if it wasn't hotfix, you guys would have killed it like so quickly. But that strat was so huge on killing that ad to the side. But yeah, just seeing how you guys were just constantly pushing to optimize the boss DPS in that phase and getting her lower and lower and lower and lower. That was a really fun thing to keep an eye on. And then phase 3, it was a mess. There was so much going on, and everyone had to play so well. You guys killed that fight, no deaths whatsoever. It honestly felt like you can't play better than that. That is it. That's like the pinnacle. That you can't. I don't even know if you guys will ever do that pull again. I don't know. It felt so good.
I mean, maybe play-wise, but I can tell you, we had this idea that I actually saw this morning that Limit were doing a similar thing where, you know, the druids, they can combat res you and give you more food buff. So we did that, but when I got resed before the kill, Canex had already swapped away from that trait, so he forgot. So I didn't get that extra, and because that food buff was not being tracked by our weak auras, we had a new weak aura, but somehow it didn't have the augment rune. So I actually played the fight without an augment rune and without extra stats. So it was actually a debuff, the whole thing. The chat was trolling me the whole time. But yeah, we could do more, I guess technically, or I could do more. But the play overall from the team was just, I don't know, it was incredible. Like I kept looking at the raid frames, no one dead. I was like, this is crazy. I saw 3 combat reses on the last platform as we land. I'm like, what is going on here?
It was too many. You felt too much pressure. You're like, we're not supposed to have this many combat reses.
Yeah. Like I when I rewatched the thing, I'm pretty sure I say, guys, just calm down. We've got the DPS. Just play safe. You know? And I kept saying that because I saw the boss. When we jumped from the 3rd to the 4th platform, we could do at least 10% DPS, at least. And I saw when we jumped over, we were at 55%. So I knew that we got this, basically, when we jumped over, as long as nothing crazy happened.
We've seen some wailing arrows, or you know. So.
Yeah, Scribe is not an emotional man, okay? don't like. I don't know who this guy is. I have no idea.
What I like about this clip is like, tell me that you guys are using somebody else's equipment without telling me you guys are using somebody else's equipment.
I would like to thank our great sponsor, Logitech. We will be making an order after this, sadly. There's some replacements that need to be made. I think I threw Maris's headset down in the commotion. I threw my headset. Actually, it's still working. So,
yeah, sounds great.
You know, good stuff, good stuff.
Well, okay, so I gotta say, from my perspective, what I really liked about this fight was that it felt like everyone's health bars were like constantly in flux. And as a healer, that's the kind of fight I like, where the boring fights are the one where nobody's health moves and everyone's health moves a ton, and then nobody's health moves and everyone's health moves a ton. This fight, it's like everybody's health is just up and down the whole time, and there's always something to be doing as a healer. And I think that makes a fight really interesting to watch, where there could be a death at literally any point. Like, it felt like on this Sylvanas fight, from the moment you guys pulled until the moment the boss was dead, it felt like somebody could die at any time. And as a viewer, I feel like that's way more engaging than a fight like, for instance, Kel'Thuzad, where like nobody's really taking damage until you stack all of your raid-wide damage reduction, and then you hope that nobody falls over. And so a fight like Sylvanas, you're like on the edge of your seat the whole time. It could be a wipe like at any moment in the fight.
Yeah, so this is the thing. Which fight was it? It might have been the KT. I can't remember honestly, but it's funny how, as a DPSer, sometimes you think that a fight is engaging for a healer, but then the healer has a completely different opinion than you do. I'm trying to remember, because we had this moment happen this tier. I don't remember for which boss, but yeah, like the healers were saying that this fight is really good. Like, it feels good to play as a healer. There's always things to do. You're not sitting around doing nothing. And I think, you know, as a contrast, as you said, KT, what are you doing? Like, nothing, really.
Yeah. One thing I kind of wanted to bring up, of course, we did have the whole 50% shenanigans, right? Where we got the 49.57, right? That was a big thing. It was, of course, from a viewer perspective, it was both devastating and also hilarious because of the memes that came out of it. How did it feel from you? You guys, like, on stream kind of like seemed quite jovial about it. You'll smile, like, after the, like, oh no, it was, you know, you're kind of smiling and stuff. But how was that for you guys? Like, what went through your head at that point?
I mean, let me tell you, a lot of hindsight is you know, 2020. We did not know about this, or at least the majority of the guild did not know about this. Apparently it was data mined, and some people, I think they saw some article on Twitter the same day. I didn't know about it, honestly. So I genuinely thought that the boss is gonna die. Therefore, you know, I'm sure you've seen some memes with my faces. It's fine, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, it's funny now.
yeah. I'm sure it will be used in other, you know, with other captions in the future. You know, chat is always good with these things. I don't know. I do think I didn't like it, honestly, because you don't really see that anywhere. So it's a little bit G-baiting by Blizzard. And without really adding anything to the fight, they could have easily just upped the HP and then adjust like the percent that she phases in phase 1 at, something like that. I don't see a reason, basically, let's say. It's not like you go into execute range when you go to 45 from 50. Nothing really changes. So I don't know why they did it, let's say, yeah? It doesn't really make sense to me. That's why we didn't even think about it that much. Oh, there's the face. Yeah. But apart from that, I think the fight was cool. Like, the last phase, it didn't really need anything. We memed a bit that, oh, maybe we fight Anduin, or that would have been cool. Or maybe the Covenants, because, you know, at the 4 platforms, they have the Covenant symbols. I think they could have done more. They had all these characters there, but it was okay. I just, you know, they could have added another mechanic rather than just 5% more health. It almost felt like a surprise. Yeah, I don't know. How did? What do you think? Like, am I alone? Like, sure, it's harder. And don't get me wrong, the tuning is perfect for week 1. Like, as you saw, with a perfect pool that we had and min-maxing super crazily and doing the most insane splits we've ever done, which that took a lot of time as well to prepare. We could have done like maybe 44. So the tuning was on point. So I'm not bothered about that. But I don't know. Like, did it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the nicest. I think it would have been better the way that you said there, right? Like if the boss just had more overall health, and that way she kind of dies at the same time as she would do on normal and heroic. Of course, there was like little hints here and there as to whether or not, you know, it was a kind of feeling that maybe she wouldn't die at the 50% mark. Maybe it would be at 45. But hey ho, it is what it is. But I was more wondering when you saw that. Did you then just go, "We're not killing it this week," or what kind of went through your head?
No, because I knew, like, that was like 2 days ago, right? We just had gone to the boss. I think we're at 100 pulls, roughly. It was really early. Like, you can, we didn't min-max phase 2 at all, damage on the boss. So no, we didn't really think about that to begin with. Obviously, it was a shock moment, right? Like, we're like, what? But then we went to bed, and again, we stayed up until 2 a.m. thinking of ways to do it. And then we came up with the whole strategy of not killing the ads, therefore putting all of the people in one side, and therefore saving all our DPS CDs. And then when the burn phase starts, you just pop all, and that would have given us like 3% just like that, yeah? So it was huge. We went in, you know. We always try to move on, right? Like think of something else to do. So yeah, I mean it's a bummer. I also tweeted when they put the enrage. That was another funny moment. And I tweeted like, "What is this, sabotage something?" But obviously that's in the moment. Afterwards, you're always just thinking like, okay, what next? What next? Like it's just emotions that you're like, oh man, like we put so much thought, this was it, and now they changed it. But there's always something to do.
The Colossus, like I think there's something like the Colossus in phase 2 is a really good. A really good issue where I think the community divides on something like that. Because, for instance, I'm of two minds on something like that. As a player, as a fellow competitor, when I see something like that, that to me is the coolest stuff in the raid. Like watching you guys play out of your minds, that's fun to watch. But, you know, like it's not necessarily something new. I watch people play out of their minds during Race World First all the time. When I see a new strategy, when I'm like, how are they going to get more DPS? And then I see you guys tinkering, and then I watch 19 guys go one way and the tank go the other way. I'm like, God, that is so smart. Like, that's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. But then the viewers are like, this sucks. They're just skipping a phase and like, this is awful. I can't stand it. And so it is really interesting to me how people kind of fall on the different sides of that, because I love seeing stuff like that, but I can understand how the viewers might be like, well, this is making the fight easy and I don't like, this is boring.
Yeah, it's always like, this is like the endless debate over the decades of playing World of Warcraft. Is this an exploit or is it like a clever use of game mechanics? There's varying degrees of things like that. Generally speaking, I think Blizzard's philosophy behind things is if it's breaking the mechanics of the game, like actually breaking them, right? A good example might be Helia, when you did some action and then she would stop doing the breaths completely.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's you break the encounter. But there are many other things where you don't, if you don't break the encounter, I don't think it necessarily requires fixing. Of course, Blizzard, I think, like I don't blame them necessarily, because maybe the issue Blizzard has when we're doing Race World First, and it's the first time you're killing a boss, is that they are not going to change the boss once it's defeated, right? So then they need to act quickly if there's a strategy that they don't want to keep in the game for at least another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Because they have to at that point, right? Like you can't let the top guild and second guild maybe kill it, and then now it's fixed. Good luck, the rest of you.
Yeah.
So that's why they acted really quick. I've never seen them do it so quick. By the way,
I actually thought Blizzard. I know a lot of people were.
It was like it was like 5 a.m. in NA, I think.
Yeah, they were up early for that.
I was like, what is going on? Someone called the red line, yeah? Something happened.
Like, I saw a lot of chat, like, mad. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe Blizzard hotfixed this in the middle of progress. Like, this is, like, so unfair that Blizzard did this. And I was like, actually, this is about as well as Blizzard could handle this. There's a part of the fight that they didn't want you to do. Like, they clearly were not okay with you skipping the ad and going one way. And if you have to fix it, there's, like, no good way to deal with that. But if you have to fix it, I think they handled it as well as you could, which is they didn't let you guys invest too much time in it. It would have been really bad if that had been a strat you'd been working on for a day and a half and then they fixed it. So they only let you get, like, maybe an hour's worth of pulls in with that, and then they fixed it, and then it was like, okay, well, we can't do that anymore. We'll do something else.
Yeah, as I said, I think it's fine. I don't think necessarily, though, I agree with a lot of people on Twitter that say, like, oh, you tried to cheese and exploit the fight and they fixed it, stop crying. Because, okay, let me think back. Garrosh, there were these small ads in the last phase which we actually killed back then because we sucked at doing smart strategies. But many other guilds just kited them. They didn't touch them. Is that an exploit? Oh my god, let's, if you don't kill them within 30 seconds, then raids? No, like, so many bosses, you just off-tank stuff, you don't kill them, and then you go to the next phase. Or Blackhand, for example. You have the tank moving around. Guess what? You don't kill the last two tanks, you just phase into the last phase, and they disappear. So we saw it as like, something like that. We even thought, actually, to, because I'll give you some insight as well, chat. We thought back at the start, why don't we do this from the first set of ads in phase 2, right? Ooh. So you only go to one side, and then the other side you just kite the mobs around. What happens then? We never really tried it, because I think we tried it one pool and then we wiped and it was a mess. Because then what happens to Jaina or Thrall? Like, are they stuck there? Like, what happens? Are they going to build the next bridges? Are the next set of ads even going to spawn? Like, so we never really tried that. Because I think that would have broken the game, right? Because then the NPCs would be stuck, they wouldn't do what they're supposed to do, yada yada yada. The second set of ads felt natural, felt something that should be allowed. Yeah, we tried it for like we tried it for like 1 or 2 tries. It was a bit of a fiesta, and then we said, okay, let's not do that. Let's go only for the second one. Anyways, I mean, no one. Not everyone is going to agree with this. But we're not really mad that Blizzard changed it. As you said, it was great that they did it quickly. If we had wasted another couple of hours, I mean, we would have probably killed it within a couple of hours if they let it go. But it was, all things considered, is okay. Let's say, The main problem we have is the time pressure, but that's a whole different topic for another day.
Yeah, no, it must have been looming over you somewhat, because of course it's not too long until the reset comes in, and then you got all of that shenanigans going on, which, as you said, is a very big topic, and I'm sure that you don't want to be here for the next 3 hours probably talking about it, because that's how long it takes to back up. It's been absolutely amazing having you on, Roger. Of course, we won't keep you for all too much longer. So really, really do appreciate it. But of course, we got to say that now that you have killed this, we've got some really, really exciting stuff coming up, because we have met a crazy amount of charity goals down below.
Oh, yes.
And there's one in particular. I believe it's a fishing stream.
Oh, yes. That was a splendid idea from yours truly, okay? I have no I have no clue about fishing. Never done it, okay?
No.
Scribe loves it. He unironically goes fishing in a lake as a 26-year-old, I mean, to each his own, I don't judge. He likes it. And I'm going to give it a shot, and we're going to live stream it IRL. So we'll see how that goes.
Look, I'll give you some advice. I'll give you some fishing advice. You show up with beer, and fishing is amazing.
Yes.
You don't even have to fish. Like, I've gone fishing plenty of times with friends where I bring the cooler full of beer, and we get in a boat, and I just sit on the cooler, and I get drunk. And they fish, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I can see why everybody loves fishing.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I hope to catch some big ones, right? Like, is it hard? Like, is it actually hard? Like, don't you just throw it out there and then if it yanks, you pull back. That's it.
You throw it out there and you wait for the fishing bob to make that noise in your headset, and then you just click it and it goes into your inventory. I think that's that's all I know.
I was planning, like, you're spoiling the surprise, because I was planning on getting my laptop there, and while Skype is actually fishing, I'll just be trying to get my fishing mounts in game. But yeah, we'll see. I do want to say though, like, everyone in chat as well, and the casters. I know you guys. Sadly, I haven't watched too much because I've been playing.
Yeah.
But I've heard you guys are all killing it, and especially with the charity. Thank you so much to all the casters pushing. I've heard there's been a tremendous amount of hair loss throughout this.
And he's not even talking about me, is the thing.
Yeah, like just absolutely amazing. And thank you so much, of course, to the community for supporting this great charity. We've known Jason Rad basically for a long time. An amazing charity. They're doing a great job helping with the mental health of people across worldwide, actually. So yeah, massive thanks. Can't wait to deliver on all of those. I know Gingy is excited to have the simulator hooked up, and definitely please try to hit the 40k goal, because the Plassi needs to happen. The Plague Border Plassi needs to happen.
Yeah, it does. And I would like to say, on behalf of, well, I'm not speaking as a hunter, but on behalf of all the hunters out there, I would like to say thank you, Roger, for bringing a hope to a class that, they said the meme was Sylvanas is the killer of hope, but maybe Roger is the bringer of hope. Because not only did you bring a hunter, you also topped the meters. And there's, I don't know how many hunters out there that are going to get a raid spot this tier because of you. And so, thank you for that.
That's true.
It's fantastic work you're doing.
I will say two things. First of all, it's not like I knew that this was going to happen. I had to consume a lot of copium to get through all of this. But everyone in my guild was like, why are you even playing? Get ready to ban. Scrap was like, maybe it's better if you're on the bench. You can help with strategies and stuff. I'm like, we'll see. I prepared my red paladin just in case. Turns out I looked at a legendary bow. So yeah, I mean, the stars aligned. Thank you very much. Also, thank you to Azotarion for helping me. I must say, he's helped me with the hunter stuff quite a lot. So I don't have time to do the theory crafting. So I always do a shout out, because he helps me every time. Go check out the hunter Discord, the True Shot Lodge. You know where it is, and find everything there. That's it.
Thank you ever so much for sticking with us then, Roger. We'll let you go and have a well-deserved celebration. I'm sure that tonight's going to be, it's probably going to be a messy one, so enjoy it, man. Well, really good job. Thank you ever so much.
If I'm sober at the end of this night, something went wrong, so yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you ever so much.
Congratulations.